Hey everybody, welcome back to the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. My name is Scott. If you're looking for reviews of different whiskeys such as bourbons, ryes, American style whiskeys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also make sure to hit the bell notification. That's going to alert you to when I'm doing new uploads and live streams. So today's head-to-head against two products from the same distillery, Heaven Hill. We've got the Evan Williams Black Label up against the Evan Williams White Label, bottled and bond. Wanted to do a little bit of a comparison of the two, just kind of see some of the differences and maybe my thoughts on, what each can be kind of used for. Is one better for cocktails? Is something better to be sipped on? So I wanted to do a little bit of a head-to-head with two products that are very similar, and thought I would go ahead and do that for you guys today. So a little bit of information on both of these. First, we've got the Evan Williams Black Label. This is a mash bill of 75% corn, 13% rye, 12% malted barley, 86 proof, 43% ABV, non-age stated. MSRP on this, generally for a 750 milliliter is between that $12 and $15 price point. So again, very, very affordable whiskey on that. So second would be the Evan Williams White Label, or their bottled and bond, which is a little bit more difficult to find. I think it started to kind of move around a little bit more in terms of distribution. But anyway, the bottled and bond. So this again, the same mash bill, 75% corn, 13% rye, 12% malted barley. Again, 100 proof, age statement or non-age stated, excuse me. But we know it's going to be a minimum of 4 years old with it being a bottled and bond. MSRP on this, and again, this is a 1 liter, that cost me right around $22 or so. So still, again, very affordable for probably what it is that you'll be getting. So again, want to do a little bit of a head-to-head or a comparison, and we'll kind of see where we end up. So first, I'm going to start out with the Evan Williams Black Label. So as you can see with this, kind of a really nice, kind of like light copper type of color. It does stick to the glass, fairly nicely. Not a lot there, but yeah. So all right, let's get into the nose on this. So right away, very corn dominant right away. You'd expect that again with it being a higher corn base, 75% corn in the mash bill. Nice vanilla note to it. Again, some of that caramel is there. Yeah, it's a very sweet corn. It's a sweet corn presence to it, not like a grainy type of corn note. Slight bit of nuttiness, which is typical of Heaven Hill. You do also get a bit of like a kind of a light, like dark fruit aspect to it. Little bit of oak there, not a lot of oak by any means. And maybe a touch of rye spice to it, but not getting a ton of that. Basically no heat to it at all. It's very just kind of corn dominant, sweet corn, and some of that vanilla aspect to it. So, all right, let's give this a try. Cheers. So my initial thought is, aside from the corn, it has a decent mouthfeel. It's a little bit thin, not overly creamy or anything by any means, and you wouldn't expect that from an 86 proof bourbon. But again, you are kind of starting out with a lot of the classic bourbon notes. Again, that sweet corn. Again, light nutty flavor to it. Again, very typical of what Heaven Hill produces. Very little bit of oak. I would say very, very early on from a sipping standpoint, it's kind of falling very flat. Kind of a lot of the flavors that are there dissipate very, very quickly. You get initial hit of some of that corn sweetness with some of the vanillas and caramels, but goes away fairly quickly. So again, a little bit thin, almost no finish to it at all. I would say if I had to classify it as anything, it would be a short finish. on that. So far, not really a bourbon or a whiskey that I would overly enjoy sipping on, just because you would be constantly trying to search for, you know, those flavors, because it finishes so quickly that you just constantly be, you know, trying to sip on it. So, yeah, so I guess with that, like right away in terms of just the overall, like sipping profile, I would say, you know, probably not much of a sipping bourbon at that point. So, all right, we'll move on to the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. All right, so kind of just moving this around in the glass a little bit. Again, color is a little bit darker, more of that kind of copper penny type of color to it. So we know, again, minimum of 4 years old, with it being a Bottled and Bond 100 proof. So we're starting to jump up in proof a little bit with this. Does stick to the glass a tad bit more, not overly oily by any means, but you know, a little bit there. So, all right, let's get into the nose here. So right away, I would say a huge difference in just the nose part of it right away. Again, I'm not getting a lot of heat. I mean, 100 proof is still a really nice proof, but I'm not getting a ton of heat on the nose. But the one thing that jumps out to me right away, again, is the classic Heaven Hill note with this of the nuttiness. Specifically with this one, for me, I get this nice peanut butter, kind of like a creamy, it would smell like a creamy peanut butter type of note to that. Nice oak presence, really nice vanilla note to it. And I do get some of the dark fruit that I was getting off of this, just much more, there's just more there to it. And I'm guessing that a lot of this has to do with the possibility of there being a little bit more age to this. Maybe not very much more. I mean, this probably isn't, you know, much younger than this, if really at all. But I think that proof is really starting to kind of show itself, and the proof of a whiskey has a lot to do with that part of it. So. Yeah, some of that underlying like kind of vanillas and caramels that are there. A touch of cinnamon. I didn't get any cinnamon on that. Picking up a little bit of a cinnamon note here. But that not overwhelming, but just the amount of nuttiness and the peanut butter type of note that I'm getting on this versus that is really night and day. So just in the comparison of the two, this so far beats on the nose is heads and tails above the 86 proof Evan Williams. So, all right, let's get into the taste here. Cheers. So again, right away, very similar to the nose on this. It's very nutty forward, and for me, again, it's a lot of the peanut butter. It does have a really nice mouthfeel to it. Definitely wants to kind of coat the mouth a little bit more than the 86 proof, and I guess here is where the proof really starts to kind of show itself. You've got a little bit more of that viscosity, so you feel it a little bit more, you know, in your mouth. So it's much more, you know, it's just out there a little bit more. But so far, that nuttiness is really kind of coming through on this. Again, the vanilla, the caramel, those underlying standard bourbon notes are definitely there with this. Again, very nutty or peanut butter forward for me. Some of the sweet corn is definitely there. Again, same mash bill, but I think the proof is really kind of amping this up a little bit more. Touch of heat, not much more. There's a little bit of a difference, but in the overall mouthfeel, a big difference. This is much creamier than this. This was like smooth but still flat. This is still kind of like creamy and more mouth coating for the white label Bottle and Bond. Not overly spicy. There's a little bit of spice to it, but neither one of them have a very high rye mash bill at only 13%. So it's going to be a little bit more on the probably sweeter side, not as spicy, but you know, both good, you know, bourbons. You know, finish wise, I would say with this, probably on the medium side, probably shorter side of medium, not full medium or anything like that. But again, it's still finishing with a lot of the classic bourbon notes of the vanillas, the caramels. But really that Heaven Hill note that's there, that just the nuttiness wants to kind of continue to linger there. And again, I think it has a lot to do with just the extra proof and everything to it that's allowing this to kind of shine a little bit more than the Evan Williams Black Label. So I think both, again, really good you know, bourbons for what they are. I would say so far the Evan Williams Black Label would probably be, for me, more of a cocktail type of bourbon. And even aside from that, the one thing I would say is I still think it's maybe a little bit kind of flat from the standpoint of a lot of the flavor being there to make a really nice cocktail. So for me, you know, it's probably one that in the future I'll probably shy away from, just from that standpoint. Doesn't have enough going on from a sipping and or a cocktail standpoint. So then we kind of move over to, again, the white label, which this is kind of a twofold for me. So I think from a sipping standpoint, it would be a really nice kind of daily sipping type of bourbon. I think there's definitely enough there that would allow for it to be considered kind of a sipping whiskey. Some good flavors, you know, good bourbon notes. That nuttiness of Heaven Hill is something I enjoy. So I wouldn't hesitate to buy that again from a sipping standpoint. But I think the flip side would be, I think this would really do well in cocktails. I like the fact that it's 100 proof. For me, I think that's a really nice proof for cocktails in general. And then just the overall flavor profile, for me, lends itself that it would probably make or hold up really, really well in a cocktail. So again, I wouldn't hesitate to use that as a daily sipping, you know, bourbon by any means. Again, think it would be a fantastic whiskey for cocktails. I just think there's a lot going on there that would allow for that to be the case. So hopefully that helps give you guys a little bit of an idea of the two. I guess both, you know, good in their own right for what it is. But again, you know, I'd probably, you know, 100% of the time, if I had the ability, I would buy the white label Bottled and Bond over the 86 proof Evan Williams. So with that being said, so like, subscribe, leave some comments. Let me know your thoughts. You know, do they kind of match up with mine? You know, do you enjoy the black label? Do you enjoy the white label? Whatever it really may be. I'm always interested to hear everyone's thoughts on, you know, what it is that they enjoy and why. So hopefully you enjoyed the kind of head-to-head or versus series, so to speak. So again, like, subscribe, leave comments. I'll leave some information or general information linked in the description below, so feel free to check all of that out. If you'd like to support or contribute to the channel, you can through my Patreon page, which I'll have linked in the description below as well. So if you'd also like to follow me on other social media, you can on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all at My Bourbon Journey. So check me out there. Give me a follow there. But again, like, subscribe, comment. And I want to say thanks again for tuning into another review. And like I say, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.